Hello everyone. I wish all of you are really doing damn good. Today I would like to unfold the operating systems course outline. This session will represents the different topics that I am going to cover in the coming series of lectures related to the operating systems. Let us see the different topics that I am going to discuss with you as part of the operating systems. So you can see guys here in this slide. So introduction part is already over because we have already made videos on introduction to operating system that has covered the definition of the operating systems, functionalities and services, and also we have seen objective of an operating system. As part of the introduction, it is over. The rest of the lectures will be covering the process management, memory management, file management, secondary storage management, protection and security, networking and error control. In fact, these all are the functionalities of operating system. If you select one of the functionalities, say process management, so within the process management, the operating system is offering n number of services. You can see, you can say that the creation of process, it supports the process control block, process scheduling, process inter-process communication, process synchronization, sharing resources between the various processes. So all are the various services being offered under the functionality of the process management. And when it comes to the memory management, yeah, we will talk about the primary memory management techniques and also virtual memory management techniques. And file management is another functionality of an operating system. You know guys, the file management, you can understand it quite with less effort. Why? Because we have been dealing with files in our regular life. Maybe if you are engineering student, you will be creating programming related files and you save your data in the form of a file. So how these things are preserved in the computer permanently, that we will see as part of the file management. Okay, when it comes to the secondary storage management, we will see the physical structure of the disk and how the operating system really manages the data on the disk, secondary storage devices, in terms of, you can say that, data blocks. And also if you look at the physical structure of the disk is basically logically divided into various flatters, sectors, tracks, cylinders. No, that how this can be managed by the operating system, we will cover as part of the secondary storage management. And in fact, protection and security is the most essential feature of the operating system or functionality of an operating system. Okay, the protection and security are really help the user to secure and also to protect his data inside the computer. So data could be audio files, video files, or simple text files, images, whatever it could be. Because present days, at any place of the corner can be attacked by say the computer attackers, where they can steal your data. Okay, that possibility is there. But however, we are fortunate enough because the operating system will defend such kind of attacks. How it defends the such kind of attacks from the outsiders, we will see as part of the protection and security. And then we will see the networking and error control. In fact, networking, you will be studying the concept of networking in computer networks. I hope you will see the details related to how the operating system is providing different protocols to connect to the network and also to send and receive the data from the network in terms of TCP, UDP, and you will see the ISO model. Okay. Error control, however, yeah, error control purely done in terms of interrupts in the computer system, that also we will see. I was telling you with regard of the process management, we will talk about the what exactly process state diagram of a process and process control block. Then we talk about the process scheduling. With regard of process scheduling, I will be talking about the various queues, like say initially we talk about the job queue. Then we see the what we call the all the processes that are ready to get executed will be waiting in the ready queue. Okay. Then job queue, ready queue, and also with respect to the queues, we will see the schedulers also: short term scheduler, long term scheduler, and medium term schedulers. Then we will talk about the scheduling criteria, different scheduling algorithms like round robin scheduling, first come first serve scheduling, then priority scheduling, then shortest job first scheduling. However, in the scheduling, we will talk about the preemptive schedulings and non-preemptive schedulings. With regard of scheduling, we will focus on certain problems such that you are supposed to calculate the waiting time and average waiting time, at the same time turnaround time and average turnaround time of a process. The problems we will discuss purely related to the process scheduling. And inter-process communication, when two processes are getting executed concurrently, sometimes one process would like to communicate with another process. In such scenarios, the process communication is needed. The operating system facilitates the process with uh, different concepts to communicate with each other, such as like message queues, and also message queues one thing, the shared memory, and pipes. So we will talk about the pipes, message queues, and shared memory. With regard of this interprocess communication, we will talk about the uh, see, named pipes, unnamed pipes. Okay. uh, with regard of these shared memory, how one process could able to share the memory with the another process, and where this shared memory will be available either in the user space or kernel space, that also we will see. And when it comes to the process synchronization, because when concurrent execution of processes are going on, the process may compete for the various resources. If one resource is being shared between the two processes, and two processes are trying to modify or update the same resources, then there may be data inconsistency problem will arise. So in order to avoid data inconsistency problems, we say we keep the data that is being shared between the process in a portion of the code. We call it as a critical section. Critical section is a code where the shared data between the different processes which are concurrently getting executed will be kept. So when one process would like to access the critical section data, we try to implement the synchronization concept. So the process synchronization can be done. It can be done using the hardware based solution, software based solution. Peterson solution is there. And however, present days we will be using the mutex logs, semaphores, and monitors. So how this can be done, we will see. And resource management, yeah, when it comes to the resource management, I was telling you the resources are being shared between the various processes. So sometimes the system may enter into the deadlock state. Because, what is deadlock and deadlock management techniques, like deadlock avoidance and deadlock one is deadlock prevention algorithm is there, deadlock avoidance algorithm is there. And when it comes to the deadlock avoidance, we see the bankers algorithm, where we try to find out the safe state of the system first, then we try to allocate the resources. Okay, if system is in the safe state, the bankers algorithm will try to find out the safe state first, then it will try to allocate the resources. So that also we will see. In fact, yeah, when it comes to the process management, there are problems on process schedulings and also on process synchronization, and also there are problems with regard of the deadlock management. Okay, so that we will see in the coming sessions. When it comes to the memory management, yeah, because the most valuable resource in the computer is the memory, because every process will be residing in the memory, so they will be competing for the memory address space. So the when you are allowing the different process to share the memory, and the memory has to be managed between the various process very intelligently, otherwise one user may be trying to access the other user's address space or other users data. To avoid such kind of accidental misuse of the memory, the operating system will be supporting various memory management techniques. So the memory management techniques used by the various operating systems are: one is paging, segmentation, segmented paging. And when I come to the basics of memory management, earlier in the olden days, the operating system used to allocate the contiguous memory for the various processes. Because of that, there are issues like internal fragmentation and external fragmentation. To avoid this internal and external fragmentation, we go for the paging. Okay, paging allows the memory space to be non-contiguous. Okay, in to implement the paging, we will go for the paging table, and also TLB comes into the picture. In fact, many problems will be asked in on paging in operating system. This paging will be very very important concept in the operating system. So okay, then we will shift our discussion towards the segmentations. Okay, even still in the paging, you can find internal fragmentation can be happen. So because of that reason, to avoid the internal fragmentation, we go for the segmentation. We will see segmentation, how it is being implemented with this segmentation table. And in fact, segmentation and paging both can be used as segmented paging, where you can able to avoid the internal fragmentation as well as the external fragmentation, that we will see in the coming lectures. And then we will go to the virtual memory management techniques, where you could able to run a process whose size is more than the physical memory. That is being supported in terms of virtual memory. So with regard of the virtual memory, we have to the operating system will be supporting the various page replacement algorithms, like first in first first in first out, like LRU, least recently used, and optimal page replacement algorithm. And also you can find many problems on page replacement algorithms also. Paging and page replacement algorithms are very very important topics in the operating system, and exclusively with regard of memory management, because you will definitely will be getting one or two questions in the gate examinations. Even if you attend any interview, you definitely get have to face questions on paging and page replacement algorithms. So that I am going to discuss very clearly in the coming sessions. Then we talk about the file management. With regard of the file management, when it comes to the basics, we will talk about the attributes of a file, file operations, file types. Then we will see the file system implementation is being done as a layered structure at various levels, different models being used by the operating system to manage the user files on secondary storage, that we will see. And how the file space is being allocated on hard disk. It could be a contiguous memory allocation, or linked allocation, or it could be indexed allocation. Okay. And then we will see the directory structure implementation. Yeah, basically we have different directory structures, like single level directory structure, two level, multi level, tree structure directory structure, and acyclic graph directory structure, and general graph directory structures. How the folders in the computer are being implemented in different ways, that has been supported by the operating system, we will see as part of the directory structure implementation. Even how the pre-space is being managed on the hard disk by the operating system. Okay. When you create a file, yeah, space is being allocated for the file. Later you want to delete that file. When you delete that file, there will be a pre-space. And how the operating system will find out at what places the pre-blocks are available. So that could be done as part of the pre-space management module of the operating system. Basically it uses different algorithms, maybe like one method is it may use bit vector, the other is like it may use linked list concept, grouping, and counting methods are being used. These algorithms we will discuss as part of the file system implementation. When it comes to the secondary storage management, I was telling you, basically we will see the physical structure of the hard disk, how the hard disk is being divided into different flatters, and what are the cylinders. So we will try to discuss the read and write head concept, disk arm, disk assembly, sectors, tracks. So the terminology we will discuss, and also we will see the very important questions normally asked in the interview point of view. What is seek time and rotational delay time? Okay, that we will see. When it comes to the disk scheduling algorithms, the number of cylinders being traversed by the read and write head to read the required data to complete the execution of a process. Normally this concept is being asked as a mathematical problem. So once you know the disk scheduling algorithms, there are various disk scheduling algorithms, then you could able to solve the problem. The different disk scheduling algorithms which we are going to discuss are like first come first serve scheduling, and shortest distance first scheduling algorithm, and we have scan, cscan, look, and clook algorithms. In each algorithm, the intention is, or the objective is, to find out the number of cylinders being traversed by the read and write head, or the movements of read and write heads to read the requested cylinders to complete the execution of the given process. Then we will shift our discussion to the RAID levels. You know guys, RAID levels are being used for securing the data in the computer. So at any point of time, if physical damage happens or some technical problems happens, and you could not able to read data from the secondary storage device, or from entire device, or from one drive, in such case the duplicate data has to be maintained at different places to provide the security for the data within the computer. So this could be in terms of managing the redundant disks, multiple disks. You will be storing the same data on multiple disks, or sometimes you may be using some number of disks where you could able to store the multiple copies of the data that is available in the computer using some logical concepts. Okay, RAID levels are being used to protect your data or to create a duplication of your data so that your data is secured. At any point of time, if one of the disk is damaged, you could able to retrieve the data from the other disks. And at last, I will be talking about the protection and security. In the protection and security, the most important question very often is asked in the interview is, what is protection and what is security, the difference between the protection and security. Okay, then what is the fun of providing this protection and security for the computer? And is operating system is really providing the protection and security? Both are being supported by the operating system. In fact, the protection is internal to the operating system. Purely operating system is try to protect the resources in the computer by the unauthorized users. And security is an external defense mechanism being used by the external tools. It may not comes uh, under the zone of operating system. But for example, see, if your system is attacked by the virus, if you have antivirus software that can defend your system, or else even in the operating systems present days, the modern operating systems also providing the inbuilt antivirus softwares are available. So in such case, yeah, your operating system is protecting your resources, also securing your resources. That we will see as part of the basics of this protection and security. In fact, the operating system will be providing the protection using the concept of access matrix. However, you are providing security and protection. The outsiders of the computer, sometimes they will attack the resources of a computer in terms of program threats, system threats, and network threats. What are these threats? We will see in the coming classes. I was telling you, the operating system will be implementing the security and protection. In fact, protection is done or security is done using user authentication, cryptography, and firewalls, because the user authentication, cryptography, and firewalls are implemented outside the computer. In the sense, before user comes and access the resources of a computer, user is authenticated. Once user is a valid user, then once he enters into the computer, later which files has to be accessed by the user, that comes as part of the protection. You may give the read permission, write permission, and execute permissions for the different users. You will not be giving all the permissions for all the users. Okay, whoever users you trust, for them you will be giving the different permissions like read permission, write permission, and execute permission. So once the when the user is outside the computer, when you would like to log in, security comes into the picture. When he logins into the system, he becomes the valid user. Though he is a valid user, what kind of resources, what kind of operations he can perform on the resources are strictly implemented as part of the protection. Guys, yeah. With regard of the source code of an operating system, if you really want to understand, you can see that the entire source code of the operating system can be divided into two modules. 80% of the source code will be used for the process management, that may be the user process or the kernel process. Okay, 20% of this source code is exclusively used to implement the concept of interrupts. However, you can see the different operating systems like Windows and Linux. Okay, whenever we will talk about the paging or segmentation, or you can see virtual memory management, we will talk about with regard of the uh, selected operating system. In case of Windows, it's a closed source, in the sense the source code is not available for the market. Nobody can peep through the source code. Linux is a open source operating system where everybody has a right to access the source code, such that the upgradation of the Linux operating system or the different flavors of the operating system, the development of the operating system becomes quite easy, because the Linux operating system is being developed by the communities rather than the single user. You can see that there are different operating systems whose source code is available, then we say that it is a open source, and whose source code is not available, we say it is a closed source. Guys, so before we peep through the source code related to the operating system, with regard of the process management, with regard of the deadlock management, with regard of the memory management, so okay, we will be looking at the different operating systems, that is Windows as well as the Linux operating systems. Okay, guys. So in the next class, we will start the concept of initially introduction is already over now, so we will start with the process management. Okay guys, till then take care. Yeah, really, if you want to attend all the lectures, all the operating system lectures, series of lectures that I am going to do, I request all of you, please don't forget to subscribe my channel. The channel name is Dr. Satyanarayana Nimala. If you just subscribe, yeah, whenever I do any video, the simply that will come to you as a notification. So initially I will be doing a series of lectures on operating systems before I proceed with the data structures and programming. So I request any student is really looking forward to learn the course on operating systems exclusively. This will be useful for the interviews and also for the academics. And also, if you really want to write the gate exam also, the series of lectures will be definitely help you. So I request, please do subscribe and also share this link with the engineering students who are really in the need of understanding the concept of operating system. Okay guys, till then take care, bye bye.